This is called a shower tile leak test, and I'd like to tell you the craziest story for testing that I've ever been involved in. We make videos about a lot of different topics on this channel, but testing is kind of my thing. That is the expertise, particularly technically, that I have, is diagnostics. My family moved out of this tiny house on wheels, 200 square feet, and into our 3,000 square foot single family home where we also have our office and the studio where we make a lot of our videos. 4 years ago, we moved out. On that build, we did a lot of the work ourselves. We framed it ourselves. Basically, the subs that we brought in were roof, drywall, and some of the other kind of like things that take a lot of people and are really grueling. Tile being something that I thought of as like a specialty thing, that I just wanted to make sure it looked really great, that it was done really well. We did a lot of work on waterproofing our bathrooms so that I wouldn't have to care if my kids got out of their bathtub dripping wet and then proceeded to slosh stuff onto the floor and run around for 10 minutes before drying anything up. So one of the things that you do is a tile leak test. So you bring your hose in from outside because the house doesn't have water at this point, and you fill up the basins of the showers. And this requires that you don't have a curbless shower. I guess you could build a curb. And then you fill that with a few inches of water and you let it just sit there. And what you want to see with water just standing in these showers, that no drips show up in the floor below. There's a problem with staging in plumbing. What needs to happen is that the inspector gets called out after the shower pan liner is installed, but before the tile is installed. And we have this leak test. The person who does the shower pan liner is often the plumber. And the plumber is going to install a shower pan liner. This is a plastic, thick vinyl mat. And the tile guys show up. And tile guys don't like the job that the plumber did. So the very first thing they're going to do is rip that thing out. Whether or not it passed the leak test doesn't matter at all anymore. They are now going to do their own. And they are immediately going to start mudding inside of that shower pan so that they can start installing the tile. There's no leak test on their shower pan liner. And so we did this test after all of the tile is already installed. And this was fine on 2 out of our 3 showers. But in the master, in the center of the first floor, I went down to the crawl space and there's a puddle. And now that we found this leak, the solution is break all of the tile, all of it, remove it, rip out all of the layers of everything, and then redo the entire shower. Now, the tile company that we had subcontracted with knew what I do for a living. They knew that I was a testing person. I called him, there's a problem with this master shower, and this thing has 2 foot by 4 foot tiles, very expensive. And I said, there's a leak. I'm going to leave this for you. I drained it right away because I wanted to make sure that it didn't just keep on leaking. But I want you to come out here and look at this so that you can see that it's leaking, so that we agree about what's going to happen. He said, actually, I believe you. I know that you're a testing guy, and if you say it's leaking, then it's leaking, and we just have to come out there tomorrow and tear the whole thing out and start again. At our expense, of course. So very sorry to delay your construction process, which is the correct answer at that point. So I hung up the phone, knowing that he's going to come back out at 3 o'clock that afternoon, go down to the crawl space, look at the puddle, look up, see the drips, be like, okay, yep, I see it. I'm there with you. So at 2 o'clock, after having replugged the thing back up, and then filled it again with water about an hour before he's set to get there, I go back down into the crawl space 20 minutes later, and another bass drum in my heart. There is no puddle now. And this is very interesting and upsetting because I know for a fact I saw that puddle. You see it on the video. What had happened is that we had set up the test the first time. They had punched out these plugs. The way the geometry on these shower things works is that the drain comes with a little perforated, like it's made to be punched out, little ring of PVC that's like a disc in there. They had broken those on 2 out of the 3 showers. They had not done that on the master. So I looked down into each of them and said, oh, they broke it out. I'm going to need to plug this thing. A little shower drain comes as a piece. And it came with a little plug that was square shaped, not round, because it wasn't plugging the PVC drain pipe. It was plugging the receiver with the filter in it before it goes down the drain. So I had used that on the 2 that were perfectly dry. The one that had leaked, I had not had to do that because they hadn't punched out the disc yet. So I filled it up and the disc was intact. That was the one that dripped. I then, to make it drain, had to do what they did, punch that out. And then to refill it again so that I could show my guy, I then used the square seal. They were about to come out and completely demolish a perfectly good shower. There was nothing wrong with the shower tile. There was nothing wrong with the shower pan or pan liner. Everything was working perfectly as far as the tile went. The problem was that they had not sealed between the PVC drain that came out of the tray and the PVC that it connects to, that it marries up to. That was open. So if water sits inside of the drain pipe itself, then it can back up around the lip and come out. It was a geometry problem, basically. It's hard to see in the video, but the problem would not have been solved at all by them coming and completely demolishing the bathroom. And this is a perfect illustration of why it is so important to understand everything about how a test works before you run the test. Because, and by the way, that I know that's unrealistic, but in real life, you're going to have things like this happen where a variable that you're not even aware is dynamically happening within the test is going to go awry, and then you're going to come to a conclusion that's actually the wrong conclusion. And then you're going to hopefully catch it before you go through surgery. But the surgery that would have happened at this point would have cost, $10,000 to demo the shower, to then rebuild the shower with all fresh tile, throw away the old stuff. It would have been a huge waste of time. And then if we had rerun the same exact tile test, it would have failed the second time too, if we hadn't punched out that drain. It is a shame that they did not seal that last connection of the actual drain piece, but it's not going to be an issue down the line unless we have some kind of a plumbing backup. So am I super concerned about it? No, long term, I'm not. So any test that you're having done when you're doing a blower door test, is the basement door open or closed? Is the attic hatch open or closed? All of the little things. And by the way, I've got an HVAC testing course now that's available at buildingperformanceworkshop.com. Keep your mind open. Keep asking questions. Keep running tests. Don't think that tests aren't worth it. Tests are totally worth it. Comment below if you have anything else to add about interesting plumbing stories that you've had happen, especially with tests, because there's a lot of tests out there. Like and subscribe. Tune in next time.